All right, you ready? So here's like the intro part. To bra or not to bra? Exploring a journey of life's unpredictable twists and turns, how to claim your personal power from within and lead a fun, fulfilled, soul-driven life, one epic, hilarious, insightful coffee chat at a time. Let's get real. Let's get raw. This is your host, Em, on Bra or Not to Bra. Welcome back, everyone. All right, today is episode 4 of To Bra or Not to Bra. I'm so freaking excited that you're here listening to this. It means the world to me, and I cannot wait to share this juicy episode with you guys. Today, we're stepping into spiritual healing, energy healing, personal consciousness, all of these buzzwords that if you told me any of them probably about any time past 8 years ago, I would have actually laughed in your face. Like hardcore laughed in your face. If you were like, hey, Em, are you spiritual? I'd be like, no, are you? Like, what does that even mean? And as I have done a lot of work on myself, as I've stepped into this whole new realm of personal development and seeing how good life can get, I've realized along the way that spirituality is actually a huge component of it, whether you name it directly as that or just feel this sense of vibrational energy and frequency that surrounds us. If you're already kind of lost, don't worry. This is why I have invited Lisa Almquist to come and chat with us today. She is my dear friend and one of the most talented, gifted, beautiful women I know. She's a personal consciousness guide and energy healer. Now, if you don't know what that means, it's okay. I still kind of don't, so we're gonna learn together. Join us as we take a deep dive into all things personal consciousness. We explore what it actually means to be connected to soul, how to tap into your intuition, and how that third dimension of consciousness, aka the ego self that we always hear about, how that can prevent you from stepping into your truth. And bonus, Lisa reveals how to know if you can trust working with someone who calls themselves a healer, reader, spiritual guide, psychic, all the goods. All right, you ready? Let's get real. Hi. I am so glad that you are here today.
Me too.
I mean, I've liked all my other guests so far, but I'm really, really excited.
Oh, thank you. All your other guests have been amazing.
They've been really freaking cool.
Yes.
So today's episode, you guys, is called To Step into Personal Consciousness or Not to Step into Personal Consciousness. And this title says everything about who you are. Mm-hmm. Tell us who you are. I mean, I know. Tell everyone else who you are.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa. I am a personal consciousness guide. I am an intuitive. I am a healer. I am a spiritual mentor. I am the person who walks you back into who you are. If you have forgotten who you are, or if you never even knew in the first place. So that is what I do.
I love that. That was so succinct. That was perfect because what you do is literally like so much more than that. And it's really hard to describe. So you nailed it.
Very hard. Yeah, it is. It's hard to describe. My family still doesn't know what I do.
I still don't know what you do until I'm like working with you in a session with you.
Yes.
Okay. As always, we are going to start with our fun little icebreaker that I made up where we ask each other a random ass question and then have to answer.
I'm nervous.
No, I know. But like, that's why it's fun and we get to catch you on the spot and then everyone gets to like really get hooked in.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to ask you first or you want to ask me?
You can ask me first. Let's get it over with.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. I can't with this one. Do you think that you could pass a lie detector test?
Oh, hell no. there is zero chance I could pass a lie detector test if I was trying to lie. Okay. That's the thing. I can't lie to save my life. So if I was really trying to pass it, like I had done something and I needed to like lie my way through it, there's absolutely no chance. And well, and the other part to that is honestly, I don't think I would ever have to even have a lie detector test because
Oh, come on.
I would be like, I either did it or no, there's no possible way I did any of that. And then I'd pass it, no problem.
Because you would tell the truth anyways without someone having to force you to.
Yes. Okay. Here's the thing. I have been called by many other healers and spiritual people, psychics, whatever you want to call all of us, the speaker of truth.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't go by that, but truth in higher consciousness is equal to love. And love is the only vibration that we really are. We just forget that as we are in our human experience in third dimension. So we spend all this time trying to get ourselves back into the remembrance of the truth of who we are, which is love. So I don't think I could do it.
You guys, this is why I love her. If you're not hooked by now, then I don't know what else to entertain you with. I
love you.
I love you. You knew that's what I was thinking. And not because she's psychic, you guys.
No.
Okay, so I know you still have to ask me my question, but
yes.
I'd love for you to explain to everyone what is the difference between a psychic, a spiritual healer, like for those listening who literally have never even heard of this other than in a made fun of way.
Yeah.
How would you describe that distinction?
Okay.
This is a loaded question.
It is. And here's how I would approach that. We are all equal and divine beings of light. We all have the ability to connect to our inner guidance, to hear our wisdom, to connect with our angels, with our spirit guides, with the divine. We all have the ability. Some of us have opened our presents on Christmas Eve instead of Christmas Day. Okay. So there are many people who have this ability to connect, to know, and then you kind of break it out. I see it like a fan, and you have many different people that utilize that connection in different ways. Therefore, you get all of these different titles of things. This is just our third dimensional way in being a human, that we categorize things, because that's how we make sense of things with our mind. So you have people that call themselves psychics. They do card readings. They connect with other beings. You have people who are spiritual healers. Guess what? They do the same thing. All right. There are people, it's all about using your connection in the way that you are called to in your truth.
Okay. I'm going to ask you the question that no one wants to ask you.
No, great.
Are there fakers out there?
Of course.
How do you distinguish?
If you walk away from an interaction feeling less connected to source, it is not of the highest vibration.
I've definitely had that experience.
Yeah, easily. That is your number one. And I learned that from my mentors, and they're absolutely correct. I've had many people who have shown up to see me, giving me kind of background stories about some of their connections. When you walk away from something feeling awful or feeling fear, it is not of the highest connection. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are faking, but they're at their level of consciousness.
Yeah, they can only meet you as to how far you have come yourself.
Right.
But vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. There are many people that may completely have a gift of connection, and it's real, but they are using that gift of connection for nothing but, I just want to load my pockets. Okay.
Yes, I
Yeah.
was on a girls' trip a few years ago. I think we were in Boulder at the time, and we went to, I don't even know what she called herself. It was like psychic readings. I don't know why we stepped inside to this place. It was literally in this tiny little house. It was clearly her home, and it did not have good vibes, but we were kind of in just like that, let's do anything mood. And so we went in, and it was one person at a time.
Mhm.
And I think I was like the second person that went in. The first woman that came out, my girlfriend, she was like, that was weird. And I went in and I was like, no, no, no. You just aren't there yet. Like, I'm gonna feel this connection. Like, it's all about the energy you bring forth. I was in there for so long, trying so hard to find what you were saying, like that connection to source, that connection to soul, because like I truly wanted to believe.
Yeah, because it's not about what somebody is saying to you at all. It's about the energy of your heart connection that's coming forward, no matter what is the environment in which you are sitting. If you are coming in for a reading with someone and you are having to try to pull their energy, use your discernment. That's what I keep hearing. You just use your discernment. This is your opportunity. This is everybody's opportunity to listen to your inner guidance.
Ooh, we're talking. That's literally what we're talking about today.
Yes, yes.
And then you get to ask me the question before I keep drilling you.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Would you rather lower
I hate would you rathers.
Yes, these are would you rathers. I hate them too, which is why I'm giving it to you, girl.
Oh, thanks, Lisa.
No problem. Okay. Would you rather lower your expectations or raise your standards?
Ooh. I mean, I know the answer. The answer is raise my standards, 100%, hands down. I'm trying to think of how to explain why.
Have you ever had an experience where you needed to make that choice?
Yes. Actually, in all aspects of my life. The first thing that I think of when you ask that question is relationships. Mm-hmm. You know, that's usually what most people think of when you're like, lower your expectations, blah, blah, blah. But now that I'm thinking about it, it wasn't really until I raised my expectations in terms of me personally, my own life, my career, my health, my wealth, my relationships, not sexual. So, right. When I started raising those standards and started kind of just like wiping everything else and everyone else in my life who was bringing down my energy, that's actually when I didn't have to raise my standards for men, because the ones who fell under that category, I started attracting them.
Oh, yes. Yes. The opposite way. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
So the answer is yes.
Okay. Do you want to know why? Okay, we're going to go right into personal consciousness.
Yes. Okay, tell us. Let's go.
Because you began to embody the vibration of sovereignty.
Ooh.
That's why.
I never use the word sovereignty. What do you mean by that?
I get to choose what's right for me. I get to say yes. I get to say no. I get to be responsible for everything in my world. I am my own voice. I am my own power. I am my own connection. And so is everyone else. And what they choose has zero to do with me. That's sovereignty. When you step into that, you embody that vibration, guess what you do? You instantly manifest those types of matching experiences.
Yes. Like that vibrational frequency is just calling them in.
Yes.
So how the hell do you do that first part? How do you connect to your own frequency, your own soul? What does that even mean?
Okay. I'll tell you how most of us go through it. Most of us go through some sort of life experience where we are attached. We're going to talk about a concept in personal consciousness and collective consciousness. It's a cycle that we all go through. We are attached to something that brings us an emotional joy. And we immediately go into a fear construct that something is going to happen that is going to remove us from that thing that brings us emotional joy. And then we get into an anger experience when we are threatened with what we fear that will take that emotional joy away.
Can you repeat that? Repeat that.
Okay.
We're threatened
We're threatened because some event has happened that brings us the awareness that we are now threatened with the thing that we fear will take away our emotional joy.
So there's like a trigger that happened somewhere that you're like, oh shit, this is happening, run.
And the way that we move into that place of, no, I get to choose, is actually the anger. Anger is a beautiful emotion. We especially in the spiritual community, sometimes there are many people that are just like, oh, no, it needs to be all love and light, all love and light. No, I'm gonna tell you right here, all of our emotions are divine. Every single thing that we have as a human being to utilize our connection to self is divine. Now, choosing what you do with all of those emotions is where you start to affect your level of consciousness. You can be angry and very high vibration. If that anger brings you to the edge of something where you're like, no, that is not who I am. And now, because I'm angry in it, I can see the gift. Gratitude for the anger is the way out of that fear-anger cycle. That's how all of us move when we finally, if you think back to where you made that decision, okay? What you did is you ignited gratitude for self and gratitude for the situation that you were in, and you popped them through into freedom. That freedom is where authentic joy lives. Two of my mentors, Shri and Kira, are this is one of the things that they teach. All right. And it's so powerful and it's so important for people to understand so that you're not trying to step on your anger. Because if you step on your anger, guess what you do? You loop back down around in fear again. And then you just keep going around and round and round in this circle. And you never get to, okay, I can see the gift and why I'm so pissed off. You can see the gift why you're so pissed off. You can now find the gratitude and you can lift into the freedom of authentic joy where you're no longer worried that the thing that you were attached to is going to go away, because what it was really trying to feed for you is something that you carry already within your heart. That's consciousness. That's your soul leading the way.
So, oh my God, this is so cool. I have so many questions.
You? No.
What? I like to ask questions. What? And we've talked so much, like the fact that I still have more. All right, I'm going to get into it.
Okay.
So you phrased it in a really good way, like popping that. It was like popping your cherry, but it was like popping your.
You pop through that fear anger loop through using gratitude, and you pop into freedom.
Pop your freedom, pop your cherry. Same thing.
There you go.
So, that's why I have to put explicit when I put this on Spotify.
Oh, great.
So is that the same as I always talk about with myself? Yep. Conversations with myself and my clients about channeling into your inner worth, your worthiness and value as a human to live the life you desire. Yeah. And I just realized just now that the step before that is anger at the life you're currently living.
Right. And then the anger, can you see then that it required you to get to anger to be grateful that you lived in that space so that you can now choose that that's not where you want to be anymore.
So that's how you heal your relationship with the anger and maybe trauma for some people that you've experienced. But does that mean that you can only step into your personal consciousness if you've had a really rough experience?
No, but I'm going to tell you right now, the fact that you're alive in a human body means you have things that you are moving through this fear anger loop. Oftentimes, when we talk about consciousness, The people who are not aware that they're in the fear anger loop are unconscious. All right. They're simply in a vibration where they're just not aware of their power. They're not aware of their divine light. They're not aware that they are a soul having a human experience. They're not aware that this is an opportunity that we are all in on this planet right now to lift the collective into a place of peace, love, and joy. Not being Pollyanna about it, not saying that all of these things that are in a lower frequency aren't happening. It's which wolf are you going to feed? Which one are you going to put all of your attention into? Which one are you going to say, yeah, I want that to continue. So therefore I'm going to feel my rage, and I'm going to fuel my rage into it. This leads us into kind of this system of how we move through awakening. Density consciousness is what we are all born into. Density is the physical body. It's this table, it's these glasses, it's everything around us. Everything is energy. But it moves and shifts into different vibrations and different frequencies, creating more things that are more densified. All right. Third dimension, as you, if anybody who's ever follows me, you'll hear me talk about this all the time. Third dimension is this space of me at the expense of the collective. All right. And I want to make sure
in a good way.
No, it's me at the expense of collective, meaning I don't give a shit what happens anywhere else. I am only going to take care of me, and I will. It doesn't matter. This is where greed lives. This is where power, control. It's all fear-based. So third dimension carries an energy of fear. It's what we talked about. It's this, if I don't hold on to this thing that brings me emotional joy, it's all of a sudden something's going to happen and I'm going to have it taken away from me. This is why people have control issues. All right. They haven't moved through that recognition cycle yet. So we are all born into this density consciousness. When we start to wake up to, I actually care about other things. I am concerned about my neighbor in the same way that I'm concerned about me. It's a more of a waking up into a we consciousness. But this is where a lot of people are residing, is in this next level, and it's called spiritual activism. All of this
next level
kind of in your awakening process.
Above the third dimension?
Yes. Okay.
Oh, most people live, I would not have guessed that at all.
Let me tell you why. We have been in this ascension up level experience on our planet for the last forever, but really amplified since 2015. And as that has been happening, the whole, how do I say this? It almost feels like the whole baseline is lifting up a little bit. All right. So everybody is kind of being lifted and waking up into new experiences of things that they're like, okay. So this.
Hold on.
Yes.
I'm tweaking out over here.
Okay.
I need to know why the hell you just said 2015, because that was the year everything changed for me. That is when my OCD hit rock bottom, and I was like, what the F is going on? Something needs to change. Like exactly what we were just talking about. Anger, fear, everything. Why did you just say 2015? That's scary. It was in the fall of my master's year in 2015.
Yeah, because in 2015, we hit this huge, big push of ascension. We've always been moving in ascension, meaning we're being gifted this vibration for us to wake up. All right. There's so much, it's so much bigger than just our own control. There's frequencies that are available. Those frequencies became more available in 2015 to push us faster to wake up, because quite honestly, if we don't change what we're doing, we're not going to stay. Let's look at what we're doing to our planet. Let's look at what we're doing to ourselves.
I'll come out and say, like, I probably was not going to physically exist if I did not wake the F up and shift into what I didn't know at the time was, or would be, this level of personal. I have full body chills, goosebumps. Like,
Yeah.
all right, keep going while I'm
Yeah.
freaking out over here.
So when we are moving through our journey of life, the whole purpose of being in this physical form is to relearn and reconnect and remember the truth of who we are, that we are a soul having a human experience and not the other way around. Okay. So yes.
A soul. I have to like slow you down because there's too many juice that we're gonna need like part 1, 2, and 3. Maybe 10. All the levels of consciousness, that's how many we'll have.
We are a soul having a human experience, not a human with a soul.
I have done so much inner work and I get the first part.
Mm-hmm.
We are a soul having a human experience rather than a human. What's the second part mean and what's the difference?
The difference is when we learn that we are a soul having a human experience, we allow our higher consciousness to lead us instead of our mind ego. Okay? The mind ego is part of the connection into the third dimensional experience, which we need because we're in human form, all right? But what we've done for so long is allow that mind ego to run the show. It needs to get in the back seat. It needs to not be in the driver's seat anymore. Your higher consciousness does. So what wakes up is that that awareness. When you realize that you are a soul in a human body, you allow your intuition, your compassion, your connection, your heart to lead you through everything in your world. Doesn't mean you don't feel anger. Doesn't mean you don't feel all of those things that are meant to bring up shadow that we hold. You just did a whole thing on shadow work with Kayla Jetta, okay? Mm-hmm. All of those experiences that we have when we're in this human body of form are designed to bring us to our awareness through that cycle of recognition that we just talked about.
Yes.
Where we are holding shadow. Because if we don't have the awareness of where we're holding shadow, we can't hold more light. The more light we hold, the higher we can vibrate. Our frequency lifts, the more our higher consciousness leads the show. The more we are able to be the observer of everything that's happening in your world instead of being this absolute reactor and then feeding all the fear. You have to be present.
Whew.
Yeah.
So if I was at the beginning of my journey,
yeah,
and we were having this conversation, which we would not have, and you said it allows us to listen to our intuition.
Yeah.
I would say back to you,
I don't even know.
How do I know?
Yeah.
What is my intuition? How do I distinguish that from what I now know is labeled ego? How do I know where that's coming from?
Okay. When you are getting guidance, when your intuition is kicked in, it is a sense of absolute knowing. Okay. And it is always bringing you into a higher experience. Always. It can be a sense of knowing that says, yeah, you might not want to walk down that alley. When we listen to that, like that thing within us that is speaking to us, that is literally your higher consciousness having a conversation with your mind ego.
So if someone comes to you and they're like, all right, I want to get to what you just said. Mm-hmm. I have no idea how to do it.
Start meditating.
I was going to say start working with you.
I mean, you can, but what I'm going to do is I am going to point you to you every single time. Anybody who's ever worked with me oftentimes get to a point where they get so frustrated because I keep pointing them back to themselves. What does your guidance tell you? Does it feel expansive? Expansive is a yes. Contraction is a, wait a minute. What's that about? Does it mean it's a no for you? Or does it mean maybe I've got some shadow underneath there that I'm now all of a sudden triggered. And that's where you look. But the way you begin all of this is to become present to the fact that you are witnessing yourself having this human experience. And it's a practice.
It is a practice.
It is a practice.
It's not easy, but the more that you tune into it, the more you tap into it,
Yes.
the more you realize that that cherry is already popped and you have access to it.
Yes.
This is such a great analogy.
I can't believe the analogy we're using, but that's cool.
Please, it's like, what am I on right now?
Hey, I know who you are, Emily. It's all good.
I know. She's like, I expected this. Yup. Hey, it's good for my listeners to know what to expect now in episode 4 rather than be like, who the hell is this girl? Like, if I contain myself. All right. And didn't listen to my intuition. Ha. See how I tied that in there?
Uh-huh.
So, can we step into this idea of levels of consciousness?
Yes. Yes.
When we talked a while ago, one of our conversations that we had like 6 months ago, do you remember? And I started crying, you started crying, and we were talking about all these different dimensions, and you were very impressed by how I was keeping up with it. Just wanted to throw that in there for everyone listening. And it was mega confusing, but also really eye-opening.
Okay, you were keeping up with it because, all right, I'm being given guidance on this. Every single person who's listening to this, you will keep up with it because you already know it. That's the thing about this kind of work. I am not bringing something to you that is dogmatic. I am not bringing something to you that is teaching you how you must do something. I am simply holding space and holding an energy for you to remember your own light, to remember how to pull in and be like, oh, yeah, because that was your reaction. When I was talking about this, you're like, oh my God, I know that. It makes total sense. And I'm like, yeah. That's what personal consciousness work is about. And the secondary gain to that, okay, they want me to rephrase that. It's not a secondary gain.
Who's they?
My guides.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got to explain that to people for a second.
Okay.
So what do you call, when that happens to you, is it an intuitive hit? Is it channeling? Like, explain it to everyone.
Those are, okay, I'm going to tell you what I'm getting with that, and then I'm going to explain it. Those are all third dimensional words that all mean the same thing. I will have knowing. I will hear thoughts that aren't my thoughts. That, trust me, it's taken me a long time to be able to figure out, what is that? What am I feeling that is mine or someone else's, or angels or my guides or whatever. So when I'm in a conversation like this, it is not necessarily me hearing. It is more me having a knowing that's coming in that came so much out of nowhere that I know it's not my knowing. I mean, okay, they want me to. It's okay. My knowing, because we all have the same knowing. We all come from the same light. We all have the same, all right? But it's like a download. Like, you
can tell it's not coming from your own intuition, but your intuition is to listen to whatever is channeling.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Does that make sense?
All right.
Okay. Now I don't even remember what we were talking about. The pulling in of all. Yes. The awareness that you will remember all of these things. Yes, because we've all done this before. Anybody who is listening to this, you have done this before, and you will remember when you connect to yourself. So that is what you do to begin, is you start to listen to your own inner guidance. You bring your hand to your heart and breathe, connect your soul to source.
That's what I need to do. I need to connect my heart right now and breathe, because my heart is like tweaking out. What do you mean by you have experienced this before? This is a very hard concept for me to grasp. We definitely don't have time to fully go into it, so everyone's going to be on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. we've experienced this before because this isn't our first rodeo in a human body. Okay?
You're looking for me to react differently. I'm trying to be really All right.
Yes. We come into human form with certain life scripts, with certain things that we carry from past lives, from previous connections. We have everything in an eternal knowing in source. And we fracture off as beings of light of that one source of light. And we carry all of that knowing with us. We just don't consciously, in a third dimensional body of form in our mind, remember it. We remember when we lift into a higher level of consciousness of peace, love, and joy, and not fear. Third dimensional energy is fear-based. So we have to really work hard, especially right now, because our planet is oozing it. We've moved even past fear into anger and rage. Now remember, anger by itself is not a problem, but we must find the gratitude. Can we find the gratitude in the experience of everything that we're in? And we do this by having multiple experiences in human form. That's what we do. So we already know because we've done this before.
Okay.
Every time we take birth, all right, every time we take birth, we go through the same process. This isn't our first experience with ascension. What I will say is we have made it further right now than we've ever made it before. Our ascension, our lifting in consciousness, our ability to connect with one another, our ability to walk into a room and to be able to feel the energy of another human without needing words, okay?
Like what we do the second we see each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, the first time we met, we cried.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird, but beautiful.
Yes. Try being me. This happens everywhere I go because I get it. And when you wake up to this experience, you start to see the light in every single thing. You start to see the light in every single being. And you understand this is where that next little level in consciousness is.
We're going there again. Cherry's popped. It's already happening, guys.
You understand that your experience, your sovereignty is just as correct, is just as honorable, is just as noble, is just as perfect for you as someone else is for them. Here's what I mean by this. When you have something that is absolute passion for you, that is a match for you, that is it is part of your truth, and you go out in the world and you allow that, you move into passionate action with that, okay? And that is what you're doing. That is following your spiritual push, okay? It's when what is important to you requires you to negate somebody else that we stop ourselves from lifting. Okay? It doesn't mean that there aren't legitimate things that are happening on our planet that if we choose as a collective to continue to shift and lift, that must change. But we don't get there by trying to force somebody to do it our way. We get there by holding presence and sending love. It's more powerful than fear. It sounds Pollyanna, I get it. I do, but it is more powerful. There is no way in hell that you are going to convince somebody who is completely opposite of you that they need to join and jump on your ship. All you can do is hold your vibration and recognize that somebody else holding theirs is also lifting the ship. We have to release the judgment.
I love that because that, what you just explained, has been my journey for the past I don't know, 5 years
Mm.
of there was a transformation I had, and there was anger that came from that because I didn't know how to help other people experience that, because there wasn't like a plan I could hand over to someone and say like, hey, this is how you become a better human and get healthy. Like,
Right.
and that anger, I'm going to try and connect the dots here. That anger had a fear to it that what I experienced wasn't replicable.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me feel guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And then I finally listened to my intuition. This is cool. And was like, no, you can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Your whole body, your whole being is telling you that you get to hold this energy, this space for other people.
Expansion. Yep.
Yep. And in doing so, that's how you make the shift. Like,
Yeah.
I don't preach what people should do.
No.
When I get most of my clients or meet friends, like, let's not even talk about clients for a second, like friends, family, when I am my true authentic self. Ooh, this gets back to the question you asked me. Ooh.
Don't you love how spirit,
this.
how the universe just helps bring us all full circle and everything? It just wraps it all in a nice little container. It's incredible. Yes.
Guys, we planned this. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
This is like not plannable. Yes, and in doing so, that's what has allowed me to change the vibrational frequency of everything in my day-to-day life and like what I experience.
Yes, because if you are judging somebody in their experience while you are trying to offer a way, it's never going to land. You have to love them. You have to be in a space of where you are is absolutely perfect. Let's find what makes your world even more perfect. Do you want this? How do we get you to where it is you feel expansive?
Yes. Yeah, I think I've told you this story about how when I was still working in mergers and acquisitions, I was scrolling through my Instagram and I was like, oh, a health coach. And I was shitting on it. I was like, that's not a real job. Like, sorry that you like taking pictures in your bikini and posting them on Instagram and saying that this is a career. That was hardcore third dimension right there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, some of us actually have a real job. Like, what? Yes. I hated what I was doing.
Yeah.
And hello, clearly I chose this path and there was acceptance of what everyone else was doing. Right. And then I was able to expansion on my own journey and my own personal consciousness. This is awesome.
Yeah, so good.
So good.
And the greatest thing about it is we are ever refining. We are always learning. We are always connecting even deeper into the truth of who we are. We are always on that path. As long as we are alive and in this human body as the vessel, we are lifting. We are doing it. It's if I can leave your listeners with one thing, be conscious and present in all of your expression, all of your thought, all of your awareness, and choose harmony. Choose neutrality. Doesn't mean that you can't have something that you are in alignment with, but how you move forward in creating a world that will continue to lift in consciousness is not by us each compromising. I talked about this yesterday with someone. It's not about compromising you. It's not about saying, well, I'm going to give up a little bit of who I am as long as you give up a little bit of who you are. It's, I'm going to love you completely, totally, 100% in your wholeness as a divine being of light, because you are you are me and I am you. We can have complete different opposite spaces, and the rest will play out in and of itself. It's when we move into, I must teach you why what you believe and what your alignment is wrong, that we stop ourselves from lifting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That is juicy, and I will say so much easier said than done.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And there will be many people that are going to be triggered just by me saying that.
Because I was. The
yes.
whole time I was thinking like about all the, and not just political, like so many things. That this is with everything.
Yes. So good.
I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you so much for coming on today. This was so fun.
Completely my pleasure. I'm honored. Thank you for asking. This is, we are all in this together. All of us, as we lift our own light, we connect and we lift one another. And that is what we are here to do. Celebrate that. Celebrate who you are in your truth.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's end on that.
Perfect.
Love you all.